Hi, welcome to Life at Your Own Will podcast. I'm your host, Will Venus, and today we are joined by a very special guest in the form of my husband, Jay. Jay, introduce yourself.
Hello, how are you all doing today? I'm too busy for a surname just because I like the name J.
Okay, like Cheryl and
Cher,
Cher, or who else is it? Madonna.
Adele,
Adele, yeah. Although you're slightly more.
Madonna.
Okay, so what have we got coming up for you today? We want to talk about a thing called theatre etiquette because it's come to light that people don't know how to behave in the theatre and travel in 2023 and probably some other things. So if that's the kind of podcast that you'd like to listen to, keep listening. Yeah, so what have people been doing in the theatre and what theatre was it, Jay?
Well, it was the bodyguard in Manchester at the Palace Theatre. People were told not to sing, well, not to sing loudly, not to dance in the seats, not to cause a fuss, but they did. Even like cases of apparently of people peeing in their seats.
People peeing in their
Yeah,
seats.
people don't. I know people haven't
Were
been
they
to
drunk?
I don't know. I know people haven't been to the theatre and seen shows in a while because of obviously what happened the last few years.
Yeah.
But there's still respect for the staff. Even here in our Edinburgh Playhouse, the staff were getting abused, assaulted, punched. It's meant, they're getting sworn at. People just don't care, and the customers are making out people seeing the shows that they're getting vindicated, singled that they're not. They're just doing the bad things, and they need to get told that they can't do it because I've been to shows last year and they had to stop the shows for 5 minutes, telling them
Really?
please, because they were scared. The artists are only doing, and the people in the show are only doing their not their job. They're doing what they love to do to entertain people. People who work in theatre don't do it for the money so much, unless they're
Although it
obviously
does help.
it does help. They're starting out, but they do it because they love to help entertain people.
Yeah, the art of it.
And I think you need to respect that. The arts, like the theatre arts, musicals, all that sort of stuff, is specialised. People do it with a passion
Hmm.
to come across what their emotions and what they're doing. You can't just try and think you're above everyone else. Try and
No.
think top of your lungs.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, everyone has to say that, don't they? In my opinion, they kind of are above everyone else whilst they're in the theatre. I mean, in the ordinary world, everyone's just the same as everyone else. But the way I see it is you pay for a ticket, you go, you sit, you watch, you listen, you applaud, you leave, and that's it. Yeah, I understand that people have been locked up in their houses, not through choice anyway, and perhaps they're just completely letting their hair down. But there's certain places and
Yeah,
environments that you do that, and it's not in the theatre, is it?
no. And I think the fact is, like,
I
they
mean,
were,
theatres are meant to be places of fun, entertainment,
yeah,
and not not to
no,
watch
but a
people
brawl in that.
cockfighting.
No, it's not Lark Hall on a Saturday night. But
Yeah, Lark Hall is a fictional prison.
yeah, but
Bad Girls.
but
Anyone remember that?
but the fact that she was singing the "I Always Love You" and people were trying to sing on top of their lungs for the performance, that when they had to stop because they realized
Who was singing that?
I can't remember who it was. It was on the article, but they had to stop. They realized that the people weren't letting them perform. And it's like,
So they had to stop the show completely.
yeah, because they were singing on
Wow.
top of it, doing all that stuff and singing on top of their lungs. Like, fair enough, you sing quietly to yourself, unless you get told, come and sing, have a fun.
Yeah, or
But
wave your arms about, but
yeah, but they were doing it to the point where they were drowning out the actual, person singing the song. And it's like, what if, say, it's your favourite song and you want to hear the person say you might like doing it, or even playing instruments as well? You can't hear that because of people being so loud and disrespectful.
hmm.
Then it ruins your night because you may have because you
And
could
was
be
this happening mainly in the stalls?
yeah because
Yeah.
it could be the only show you're able to afford to see for a while because
Yeah.
or it could be maybe the only show that you want to see because there's not many come to your area, and it happens to you. It's, it's not. You've got to make sure. Like, fair enough. Like, I've seen a disco show and a Motown show last year. Like, you go and dance and you sing along. That's but they were even then people were going up to the stage and they were doing stuff and they shouldn't be going, and that was taken too far because that kind of show you do sing and dance because that's what the kind of show it's a kind of that's the kind of show it's a live thing, vibrant show, but they were taking it too far. And then what about the people, right? They actually have the audacity to bring hot water bottles, to have
Yeah.
chicken dinners, pot noodles,
Was this in Manchester Theatre or was this one somewhere else?
somewhere else, like random places, but you don't like.
Yeah, where is it we heard this one again?
It was on a it was on a special live show with a certain two people from Scarborough that we watched on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, was it Alan and Jamie that said that?
It was Alan
Shout
Jamie.
out to Alan and Jamie from the
Yes.
Isolation
And they
Creations.
weren't making any shortening bread that time. But anyway, they said
Any
that
what?
shortening bread.
Shortening bread.
Yes, shortbread. And then and but they were saying that it's like fair enough. Bring a bottle of water. I even had a bottle of milk once because
I didn't know you could take your own things to the theatre.
you can, but they like you buying their stuff. Cause
Or am I thinking of the cinema?
cinema, you can, but you're not supposed to because that's how they make their money. Is on the
Ah,
sweets and
yeah,
drink.
like
But
a fiver for a wee box
yeah,
of popcorn.
yeah, but they are like fair enough. You buy a chocolate bar, or you have like a wee or a packet of nuts or something,
Yeah, but who takes a roast dinner to the theatre?
and pot noodle. And the thing is, right?
And what was it? What? Sorry, hot water in a hot water bottle for a pot noodle.
Yeah, they use and it's like
How did I mean
encourage.
the audacity, like
Yeah.
you said? Well, how disrespectul!
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't stand the smell of pot noodles.
No, and the fact is, right?
Again, wrong environment.
No, the fact is, you buy your chocolate or your whatever you want, but you don't buy anything that's going to be smelly,
No,
or anything like that, or hot, because people around you could.
it's like when you go on the bus and someone's eating like really strong cheese and onion crisps.
You don't
Oh
do that
no.
because that's disrespectful, and they're not going to have a good time especially if you're eating it during the performance. Because if you crunch a crisp or Pringle,
And especially
or
for
if it's
people like us
available.
that have got sensory issues, we're both autistic.
Yeah,
Yeah, there must be other people that can't stand smells.
yeah, and it's like you can't eat something loud like that. Or something like that when someone's eating it, because then the performance will have to get stopped because they'll watch you eating your roast chicken dinner on your veg and all your croquettes and Yorkies, and it's like, oh, do you want some gravy with that? You can't
But
do
that
that.
must be an extreme example.
Yeah, of course, but it doesn't make sense that you'd be disrespectful. Because surely, if you're a fan of the arts, then you should know that you certain ways you have to act. Because like lots
Yeah.
of situations, like you don't go, like say to a job interview, and you start eating a whole vindaloo or a lasagna for the interviewer, do you? Oh,
Yeah, I don't
sorry.
think they'd be getting that job.
Oh, sorry, I don't mind.
And I don't think they'd be able to go into the job the next day because can you imagine the after effects of a vindaloo? Oh, God.
Yeah, and exactly. Like, oh, I'm sorry to interview. Oh, sorry, I'm just going to finish my lasagna off for you. I said, what was that question again? You can't do that. People need to have boundaries, need to have common sense, and realise that they need to be respectful for the audience members, the staff, and the cast and crew.
I can't remember if it was with you I went with, Jay, or if it was. It must have been with you because I've never been to the theatre with anyone else. What was the show that we went to see and people were coming along the aisles and almost getting onto the stage with people? What was that?
Can't remember. It might have been Benidorm.
Was it Benidorm?
Possibly.
Yeah,
Benidorm.
it's a play based on a television show by Darren Litton. Yeah, they were all getting out of their seats. Like, stay in your seat, come on. And you could see that the cast members were like, oh, okay, are they going to get on stage? You could see the panic in their
And I'm all
eyes. They
and
had
I'm
to.
all for go out your seat in the aisles and dance, but as long as you don't go too far and try and antagonise the people making the show and then entertain you, because that's just not. They won't come back otherwise.
No.
Because you're basically ruining the experience for everyone. Because a lot of this is mental health for people. People
Yeah.
go to the theatre for
For
2.5 hours.
escapism, yeah.
Escapism for 2.5 hours to get away from stuff. Because then we don't know what their lives are back home,
No.
and you're ruining it for them.
And it could have been like their annual thing
Yeah,
that you've ruined.
exactly. And it's like, just no, don't.
I mean, even not even just like if it's an annual thing, it's ruining people's
Enjoyment.
enjoyment and autonomy, and we're very big on autonomy here at this
Exactly, yeah.
podcast.
Because you're saying to them that, oh, I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about the feelings about the staff, the cast and the crew. I don't care about this place. I'm here. I'm me. I do whatever hell I want. No, you don't. Because if that's the case, then the whole country would be in disarray.
Would be?
Well, it already is, but even more of a disarray.
Yeah, true. Is there any? I mean, what's the wackiest thing that you've seen any audience member do?
I'd probably say that when I was seeing the Motown show, that was, yeah, they
When was
That
this? What year?
this was last year
2022.
with Zenona and our friend. We were going, and they were trying to get on the stage. They said the cast were saying, "Please don't," because we're scared. You need to enjoy ourselves, but please don't because they're
And it's like, you're not part of the cast.
no, and they're drunk.
Join your
And
Antram.
I do feel that they need to not maybe not ban it, but limit how much alcohol is served at a show
Yeah,
because a lot of that is to do with alcohol,
if any.
and even stop people who maybe are a little bit intoxicated before they come in to say that
Yeah.
have coffee available or tea so they can have it before they go in.
But then again, isn't that taking away their autonomy?
No, because it's basically saying that you are might be a risk to the show and enjoyment of other people, but we want you to enjoy it as much as well. So we want you to sober up and so you can enjoy it. So you don't cause. That's how I feel because I was meant to be in college, like now doing. Unfortunately, it got cancelled, but it was theatre production, and I felt that I feel strongly about this because it's not fair. Like you go to
Oh, I
shows
feel strongly about it. This is the juicy stuff you hear for people. What do you feel strongly about?
just about it's not fair. I mean, I thought theatre was never going to come back or shows because of what happened. I felt that
Yeah,
that was it over.
because they
And
weren't viable according to the
no, yeah,
government.
and in fact, there was no support until no support going to you know.
No.
We see that Colosseum's now closed. It's like you need to be the person. Like we are the people ultimately that can save a theatre and the shows.
Yeah.
There are so many shows getting cancelled. Like Mary Poppins in London's now being
Oh,
cancelled.
that's my. Oh, I
And
love
the
Mary
fact
Poppins.
is because they can't afford the bill, the heating bill in the theatre, like because the production's too big. And it's like
Yeah, with the
you know,
energy.
in
Oh,
that show, it's probably a life. Every night when they will probably go on, they probably felt like I can't believe I'm flying in the air. I'm Mary Poppins. We're doing all these favorite songs, and it's like that's been taken away because there's no support and money to help them. And we need shows like Mary Poppins and the new Winnie the Pooh musical and all. So we need all that. We just don't.
yeah.
We need that to live and be jolly and merry.
Yeah, human beings, we need entertainment. And
Yeah.
going off topic, well, just slightly. Remember when we first went into like the lockdowns and things, and then people were like artists. This really pisses me off. When artists, whatever artist you are, like an actor, singer, musician, wig maker, lighting director, uh, makeup artist, all told that we're not viable. I cannot. So you're trying to tell me that people in lockdown they don't use some form of entertainment?
Yep.
How do they think that's put together?
You got because podcasts, TV shows,
Yeah,
audio.
they all take
Yep,
artists.
audio dramas like Doctor Who ones I listen to. They're all actors.
Someone has to write it.
Yep.
Someone has to record it.
Direct it, produce it.
Yep.
Someone has to make the cover art.
Yeah.
Yeah, and someone has to put the trailers together. That's all things. It just doesn't make sense when people say it's not viable. It's like saying, oh, it's like a doctor and say, I don't know, dermatology or I don't know.
And it also doesn't make sense when people say human beings don't need social contact.
Exactly.
Absolute rubbish.
No, and like
It's paramount to your health.
yeah, and it's like saying like doctors maybe do like I don't know minor injuries. They're not viable because they don't save people's lives like operating tables. So it's not
Doctors do save people's lives. I mean, some of them don't. Some of them shouldn't be doctors, but some of them are really
yeah,
good.
and it's like saying like people do minor injuries are not viable. They are because they do a vital service to stop hospitals and like medical centers are getting overrun. So you can't say that. I
Oh, always getting Scottish. Can he say that?
no, I mean you can't because you cannot stop people because people who do these jobs do them because they're not jobs because it's their life, it's their passion, it's
Yeah, yeah.
what they what they're what they love doing. It's not like me working in a shop saying, oh, it's my dream to work in discount retail. I love selling other things like that. Washing detergent. That's not you know people them they love doing what they do because it's their passion. They think so. Please treat them with respect.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else you would like to add about theatre etiquette? Etiquette.
I think that's it because I'll be here all day
Yeah,
otherwise.
so our message to people going to the theatre, don't get pissed, don't get loud, stay in your seat, respect the cast, respect the ushers,
Ushers, yeah, usherettes.
and other people watching, and just, yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
respect.
and one thing before, my great gran, actually, if you know the King's Theatre, if you're
Edinburgh
familiar,
King's Theatre, yeah.
in the 50s, 60s, she was actually an usherette.
Yeah, we've seen the photos,
But yeah,
and she's
we've
in books.
in books and photos, yeah. And she used to dress up in all the costumes and stuff, and like
Sell the ice cream and
ice
things.
cream, yeah. And our friend used
Oh,
to,
I love
our
that.
friends Dolly and Jean, I think it was it, yeah, Dot and Jean, sorry, used
You're
to,
thinking of dinner
yeah,
ladies.
yeah, Dot and Jean used to, sell the chocolates and stuff. Seeing her smile in the book photo and the photo we've got makes me feel that it's a worthwhile job, and she
Yeah.
loved it.
And she
If
met all the stars, didn't she?
Yeah, she had the book, all the like stuff people write. If she was live today, she'd be crying her eyes out.
Yeah.
She'd
Yeah.
be mortified the way people are carrying on. She would probably never go back to the theatre because of it all. And I feel, what kind of legacy are we leaving her and her friends? If
That's why you
Yeah,
need things like these podcasts, because
exactly,
we keep the sanity and
exactly,
we keep the
yeah.
respect.
But I want to go on now, obviously holidaying and travelling in 20. So
Yeah. So, are we finished on that
yeah,
topic? Okay. So, uh, I'm going to be completely transparent with you here, listeners. I'm reading from a list because I need structure. So, next on the list is travel in 2023, and I will let Jay take the lead with this
yeah. Well, basically, we're going off somewhere,
after he
London.
finishes sipping his tea.
Yeah, London.
The minutiae of life, people. The minutiae of life.
Yeah, we're going to London in next month, and all the joys of planning how we're going to get there, and that sort of stuff. I feel that now it's great time to go away because just don't do stay vacations. Go places around the world. Doesn't have to be your like the Asia or ever far fetched if you can't go on a long plane journey like us. But travel, it's not just about going to a place and soaking the sun. It's about getting experiences. It's going to places you've never been before and getting the culture,
Yeah.
the history. It's like,
I don't need any other culture other than the Italian one. I don't need it. It's my favourite place. I
of course,
don't need
yeah,
it.
of course, because like
We want to live there one day if we can afford
we
it.
will, because we were in like
So get get following the podcast. Make us rich so we can live in Italy and
exactly,
bring you the podcast from Italy.
exactly, because we went to this place in in Lombardia. This is the region Lombardy. It was called Limoni sul Garda, which basically is it's not lemons like lemons of Garda, but it's like means like
What does it translate to?
the forts. It's like kind of like the protection sort of thing, right?
Right.
You would say, and we loved it. Like it was Will's.
It was my favorite, my first ever time abroad
Yeah, on
and
a
first
plane.
ever time on a plane.
Yeah,
Uh, because I was so ignorant of what the world looks like in my mind, all I could think about was what I learned in history. And so I thought, right, okay, we're going to get off the plane and it's going to be completely desolate. It's going to be no built up
yeah,
buildings, nothing. And of course, I was completely
yeah.
wrong.
Because
Apart from like the hole in the ground from the services toilet,
yeah,
that was awful.
and you saw when we went to the services, you thought that's what Italy was,
Yeah, and I
like
thought
the
that's all
motorway,
that it would consist
and you
of. Yeah,
didn't have the heart to tell me, oh, I'm not gonna. How do I tell I'm not gonna like this?
yeah. But once we eventually, after 5.5 hours of
Yeah,
being in this rickety old van, and
yeah,
we could be, well,
and
excuse me, we could scarcely walk afterwards. But once we got there, oh my goodness, it was heaven,
yeah, and the
utopia.
view, like the hotel room we got was on the third floor, and the
Was it
view,
the third or was it? I thought it was second.
third room or second, whatever it was, but the view was lovely. Like you saw right view, and I video timed my grandparent, my nonny, and I was like, "Bro, look at their view," and
Yeah,
she was so jealous. The fact
so
we got the whole
jealous.
middle of the lake, and we were like, all the boats going past. It was great, and you actually felt at ease for the
Yeah,
first time since obviously, you know,
yeah. Because the impression that I got from the place is it was quiet. No one was shouting and hollering. No one was swearing. It was clean. People didn't flick their cigarette ends everywhere. They put things like dog poo and rubbish in bins. It was warm. It was breezy. There was sunshine. There was nice food.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, and
it
it's
was
like,
just it was just heaven.
yeah,
Absolute
because
heaven.
I know when I was booking it, I didn't do it in a bad way, but I had to like keep saying, "Well, book it now," because I knew you would not do it otherwise. I knew I wasn't doing it in a way to force you to go. I was doing it for your own good, to see you can get an experience you'd enjoy, because I know you'd like it. Because I don't do things from just to say that you're doing this because you have to. You're doing it because you have to, because I know you'll like it, and then because you're sometimes stubborn with that sort of thing. I know you haven't done it. I want you to push you out your comfort zone, because you need to do that in life, because obviously if you don't, if you're stuck in your wee bubble and
I'm
you
very
don't go.
comfortable there, so I don't need to go anywhere else.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Thank you very
but
much.
yeah. So, aye.
But we are going to London next month. What are we going to do? Why are we going?
We're going to see Me Dear, Euphigenia Doubtfire. We're going to the Shaftesbury Theatre to see
I can't believe we're going there.
Mrs. Doubtfire, the musical. And also the other stuff as well, like, well, because in London you can't just go
Yeah,
there.
we'll talk about that when it happens.
Yeah,
But the main reason is to go and see Mrs. Doubtfire because that's where my love of wigs started. And if you're listening to this podcast for the first time, hi, I'm a lace wig maker and designer. And it was after seeing that I thought, I wonder how they're made. I thought that as a child, and fast forward 20 odd years later, that's what I do for a living.
yeah.
So I thought, yeah, that's a really nice gift that you gave me.
Thank you. And and also we are doing another trip. We are going on a train. We haven't booked yet, but it's Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee carriage for afternoon tea down in England. So I know you like
The
that.
actual carriage from the actual monarch
Yeah,
back
you
then.
like your favourite.
Yeah, she's my favourite monarch.
Yeah,
Well, apart from the one that's just passed away, but yeah, Queen Victoria, she changed a lot, she and her husband Albert.
yeah.
And I love histories and I love tea. So yeah, that'll be very interesting. That's what we're doing
At some point.
the rest of this year at some point.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is, like, now is a great time to travel and go because you don't have to worry about restrictions and
Yeah.
tests and other sort of stuff because you
I'm
can
having to worry about masks
yeah,
and, like back in the day, because we couldn't wear them because we're autistic
yeah,
and we have extreme sensory issues and it can, put us into meltdown more than
yeah,
things. And then when you went out, people would scowl at you for not wearing one. We don't have to worry about that
yeah,
now.
and you don't have to worry about
Not
having
that we're saying that, sorry to keep interrupting, not that we're saying that this thing never existed. Of course not. It did exist and it affected people really badly. But for the rest of us who had to put our lives on hold, we understand it. But yeah, it's just, this is the moment that we're living for, getting back to normal now.
yeah, because for me not being abroad for so many years it has affected me mentally because I
Yeah, because
love
you always
traveling.
travelled, didn't you?
Yeah, nearly every year I would go, even if it was somewhere up Scotland or
It must have been nice
England.
for you. We never had any holidays me and my siblings as children.
But there's lots worse off people who may have never even left their house or their city. But I'm glad I could show you that experience to know that there is things better out there
Yeah.
and to know that it's not your fault that you didn't go because there's a lot of people that are still the same situation. I think that it does broaden the mind. I think you need to push yourself to do stuff. So like, even like what I'd love to do in Spain and Portugal border, there's like a flying fox or a zip line in the
Oh,
rest
I'd
of the
love
world.
to do a zip line.
Yeah, the zip line, you have your passport and you can zip line to Portugal through Spain.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know where it is, but you can go from that way, and I'd love to do that because I've done it before, and it's a nice wee
So you
thing.
have. So let me just get this straight. If I've got this right, you have to go on a zip wire clutching your passport when you get to the other end.
Yeah, because obviously you're switching borders.
All right.
Yeah, you can do that. It's not the one. It's not the only way you can get to Portugal from Spain. Might I add, because obviously that's it. I don't think Nonna or Mum could do that. Going
No,
to
I don't think an 83-year-old would be doing a zip wire. Well, maybe, well, you know what she's like. Maybe she would.
Oh well, nah, I can't do it. I can't get my legs on it. Nah.
Just for some context, Jay's grandmother, she's not your typical grandmother. She does not sit in an armchair knitting sweaters or booties or whatever you call them. She she's always out buying her clothes. She's always going on holiday. She's always on her iPad. Always out shopping. She's on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah, she spies on us on Instagram. What else does she do?
Go swimming
She
and
drives,
dancing,
swims.
dances.
Yeah, she goes to her dancing club.
Yeah,
She's got a boyfriend.
Yeah, it's like she's living it.
Yeah, she's just living her life, and I love that.
Yeah, and she loves traveling as well. She's actually going. My mum's it's her diamond birthday this year, and
Diamond.
yeah, 60. And yes, so
Right.
she's they're going to.
Isn't that for anniversaries?
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, they're going to the Black Forest.
Oh, I love that gateau.
Yeah, and Mum's looking.
I scrape the berries off and then eat it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mum's
Anyway.
looking forward to that. Like going to Baden-Baden and lots of different places, and it's nice for them doing that. And also, my gran and our toy boy are going to still a few years younger, are going to a cruise, and they're going to like.
Yeah, she almost forgot that, didn't she?
Yeah, she almost.
Just as you do.
Yeah, she forgot she was actually going to Greece, and it's like, and then Mum says to Mum, I'm not going to Greece. Aye, you are. You're. That's part of the cruise, and she completely forgot that she was a 2 week holiday. And like,
I think maybe she just forgot because she's recently moved house after living in that
yeah,
house. Well, how long did she live there? About
about 40 something years.
45 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
And it's like it is a lot. And I think and it's
yeah.
nice that she's doing
I
stuff
mean,
to get away
moving
from there.
house, it's like along with divorce and death, it's like one of the most
Yeah,
stressful times ever.
and I think the holidays will help
I
her.
should know.
Will help her.
Yeah,
I think it's true.
yeah. She deserves a break.
Yeah, and it's nice. And I want to say as well, like going off another topic, but if you are struggling to come to terms with death or someone being ill,
Mhm.
just know that there is people out there that can help. There may
Mm.
be people who don't want to know you anymore because they
They
don't
don't know
want to
how.
deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's other people who can help. Now, I mean, we've been through a lot, both of us, the last few years. Obviously my nono, our granddad, passed away. Our cat passed away. My uncle passed away. Obviously my grand's back, and my mum got cancer. On top of lockdown and other stuff. It was a lot,
Yeah. I mean, we've all been through so much.
and it's like just know that as long as you can reach out to people, and there will be people will help you. You don't have to do this all alone. It may seem like you're alone sometimes because people don't get how you're feeling, and they'll not get exactly how you're feeling because
Yeah.
everyone's different. But you can reach out to people, organisations like
Cruise.
Cruise,
They really helped us.
yeah, and there's Cruise and other people. Mental health like social medias can help. You've just got to,
Yeah, reaching out is very
yeah,
important.
because that's the hardest step.
Yeah.
Like once you've reached out, admitted you need help, and that's you. That's the hardest part done. And the rest is not easy, but it's easier. So, but please don't suffer in silence if you're going through all this. You know, and if you are struggling, just get yourself the help.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're talking loads of topics today, aren't we? Uh, I mean, what when you were experiencing like that initial grief, what did you want people to do for you or say to you, or what did you need?
You know what I needed when Tanya went.
Or cat?
I just wanted to hear her funny meow when he clapped her like like
Yeah.
and I want when Nora my granddad went. I just wanted his sauce, and I wanted to
Oh,
you know
that sounds a bit odd. You wanted his sauce,
I wanted his pasta sauce. Sorry.
his tomato pasta
Yeah,
sauce.
and I wanted to talk about when he's tipsy, talking about his life in Italy, and life like and when he moved here and stuff, and
Yeah, he was a wonderful man.
yeah, and you know what? Like when we were in this restaurant, it's called Cheapos. You won't know it, but it's up at Dander. Is it? No, it's
Out the outskirts of Edinburgh.
Green Grange that way. Like accordion singer Roberto, and
Proper authentic Italian
yeah,
music.
and he's a bit tipsy, and he said to me like, "Whereas Will should be here, he'd love it here," and he was so upset. Will
Yeah,
wasn't.
me and Jay's granddad,
Yeah,
we shared a love of food and cooking, and
he
it was
loved
nice
cooking.
to be able to share
Yeah,
that with
and he
him.
loved cooking for you, and he
And
enjoyed it.
also, cause I'd never met any, had I met any Italian people
Not
before? I don't
many,
think so.
no.
And when I met them, I got to try all these new foods that I'd never tried before,
Yeah,
and I still eat them to this day. And it's yeah, I really miss
yeah,
him for that.
and he makes the aubergine parmigiana, which is like aubergine with tomato sauce and parmesan cheese on top.
Yeah, and it all goes crispy.
Yeah, and he's so happy because you appreciate it. Because my gran unfortunately doesn't eat as much. She's with me. She's fussy sometimes, or what she eats. But the fact that a new person came to into the family who loved his food, we was happy about it because you get to share it,
Um,
and
I
and
mean,
he
I
helped him.
remember the first time I met him, and I think it's because I wasn't quite used to his accent.
Yeah,
I learned to understand what he was saying.
yeah,
Uh, but I remember the first time he handed me something to eat, and I was like, I better eat this, and rather than refuse, he might think I'm rude, and I ate it, and it was I didn't realize that it was a whole garlic clove.
yeah.
I'm like, give me a drink.
Aye, he's like that because I used to buy him the chilies, but instead you're meant to have a half of one.
Yeah, what was the brand
They
of the
were
chilies?
noodle Calabrian chili. You don't get them anymore. But he loved them. He always hitting it like, oh, there's a wee leaflet. They're half off at the moment if you want.
Yeah,
He used to have six, but you meant to have a half of one.
yeah, and then he would have what he would call puddles in
Puddles,
his
and you
eyes.
could see his eyes were watering.
Yeah,
And he just,
streaming.
yeah, he always said to him, that's you. he should have said, "You're right, I am fine." He loved it so much, and it's like you don't get that anymore. And I think
Yeah.
it's the things like that.
We just love old people.
Yeah,
We love old people. We love all their stories. We love
yeah,
their ways of life. We love their one-liners.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I think we'll need to get your gran on the
yeah.
podcast.
When we do, and I mean, I remember a story he was telling. Like this is back in the '60s. Yeah, I can't remember. It's like
Okay, so now we're going into back in the day stories.
yeah, like
Okay.
with him. But I remember a story. He was 60. He was like 14, I think it was,
Was
and
this in
Edinburgh,
Scotland or right?
Edinburgh, yeah, going in the Royal Mile. And it was so funny. Apparently, he sees this wheel going past. Like, why is a wheel going down the road? And he realizes it's his wheel. So he's driving with three wheels going down the Royal Mile, and he can't stop to try and. And it's like
Oh, it was hit the wheel of his car.
yeah, his car was going past the Royal Mile, and it's like
Oh my!
he
How did he
never.
not realise?
I think it happened so quickly, and he did, and he was had to stop.
Didn't the car
I don't know
like?
how.
I mean, what was it driving on?
I don't know, but it managed to stop
Would you
anyway.
not hear like the scrape of the what do you call them, the brake discs or
I
pads
don't
or whatever
know,
you
but
call them?
that's what happened, and things like that, and it's like, and that and other stuff like when because he tell you this is how proud I am. The first time he came here, he was
Oh, oh, I love this story.
he was
I love
told
it.
to come. He was told to go back to
How
Italy
old was he?
because
15?
something like that. He was too
14,
back in the
15?
day. He was too old for school and too young to work because back in the '60s, '50s actually. So he said to his brother when he was coming back, because he was in Rome airport. I think it was either Fiumicino or Chema. I can't remember which one. Well, his brother says, "Thank you, Amando." I think it was. How will I notice you? Well, I'll be the only one in tartan trousers and tartan shirt and the whole thing, and he and literally sees him and like he's the only person there, like and it's really funny. So he comes, and the second time he comes back, he comes on the Friday, starts working on the Monday. No English, doesn't speak any English.
Not a word of English.
Nope. You know how he learns? He learns by reading newspapers. No formal education in English, and he comes fluent with a newspaper, and it's like that's dedication, because especially here back in those times, the people,
Yeah, I
because
mean, racism was even worse back then.
yeah, and yeah, it was, and it's like he called something, always calls him a legal alien for a joke, right? Because he wasn't, and it's like, and it's amazing because it wasn't just him here; his sisters were here as well, obviously. But and it's like it's nice that he's made himself a life that way because he had a choice back home, you know, either being a labourer or a barber, and he sought a barber, right? So he helped him,
Was that the only choices he had, Labourer or Barbara?
That's where because he's yeah, cause
Barbara? Barber.
barber, yeah, yeah,
Barbara.
yeah, barber Liversidge.
Unless that's what you call being a barber on a barber, a Barbara.
Possibly, yeah,
Never
but
mind. Ignore me.
yeah, but he got that, and he wanted to do that, and he came over, and it's like the fact is that he did that, and he learned the language, a different language. Our language is obviously not an easy language to learn, But if I'm trying to say, come to the story, if you've got people in your family who are older, talk to them.
Yeah.
Because no one talked back in the day. You need to get the memories because I want to be the storyteller in the family.
Yeah, draw out those memories. We do that all the time.
Because you have to
I mean, no matter how many
down.
times they repeat themselves, I love
You
listening
need
to
to
them.
do it because
Yeah, it's good for their
yeah.
cognitive skills.
Especially mum has all the stories and I will have repeat, but they're great.
I wonder if your
Tidbits.
mum will come on the podcast
Of
because she
course,
never shuts up.
of course you will. You know what? And it's like
And I mean, I don't want to reveal uh real names here. What can we call? What can our stage name be?
couscous.
Couscous.
That's what she get called at our work for our old boss. Couscous.
She also gets called Dusty Bin
Yeah,
because she eats anything. Uh,
yeah, of course.
we'll call her. I'm trying to think of a name that I like. Katya. I love that name, Katya. I wonder if Katya will come on.
No, you never know.
Wait till she listens to this. I'm calling her Katya.
She will. She will. I mean, she has all the stories. I mean, she grown up all that way, and it's like I just want people aware
You know
that
what? I just really love the comfort of old stories back in the day
yeah,
because it brings back such nice memories, and you're
exactly,
you're comforted. You feel like you're cradled, and
yeah,
you kind of switch off from this manic world of having
and
to
you
have
do
everything done yesterday. I
because
love
but
it.
like people who, like I know a lot of people listening don't realize this, but like when they used to go to Italy in the car because they used to do that. I've done it twice. You only had the money to pay for you, your travel on the train or like the plane, no, sorry, the boat to go over, right? So you didn't have money for a hotel. Sometimes you sleep in the car and have cold beans. and then you'd have money to go to nice French. Like mum always loved going to the French bakers in the wee towns and getting the bread and the butter. And it's like all the chips at the side and the crepes at the side of the vans is like, yeah, that's what it's all about. And I know one year they were going and they were in the car and they had underneath this like tarpaulin, like metal tarpaulin, and sheets, and it was raining and you could hear it, hear it going down, and like they couldn't get to sleep because it was pelting down. You probably like that, but this is what I mean. This is
Oh, I love the sound
yeah,
of rain.
it's
I
memories like
love it.
that. Cause I know it's nice going on a plane, but if you go on a plane then you're just there and you're going to coach you there. But going by yourselves, having the adventure of traveling to a ferry, going that way, that's your holiday. That's the memories of doing it yourself, going to motorways. That's what families did back then. People, I've seen people probably did go off the like holiday camps in Britain and all that sort of stuff, right?
That's what we did.
That's what people did back then. I think it takes the magic of it sometimes when you've not got all that family oriented things. You go on a plane, you go in the hotel, that's it. That's you there. You don't really. It's not fair enough. You don't want to go very long journeys, like to long like places and are far away. But it's that kind of thing. It's lovely.
Yeah. What's been your favourite holiday ever, apart from the one that we went on?
One of them would probably going to Netherlands because Netherlands is such a lovely country. Not just Amsterdam, but the Hague, Volendammer, like the boats, Edam, with cheese. It's lovely because
I
go.
hear Amsterdam has very nice grass
Oh yes.
in the cafes.
Oh good, yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
it's a lovely holiday because you're because you're witnessing what they used to do in the culture of they've got. Because people obviously they cycle over there, and it's nice to see
Yeah,
different.
bikes everywhere you look.
And it's nice to see a different way of living, because they're just more chill. And I think, and also another holiday I probably like Tenerife is lovely.
Tenerife.
Yeah, Los Cristianos is lovely, like because it's nice little town. You've got all the nice little buildings. You still
What's the temperature like? Is it a dry heat or is it a humid heat?
it's a dry heat.
Not like here when we get the summers, it's a humid heat. It's unbearable.
I'd say it's unbearable in the summer because if you're not used to it. But I think that it's a lovely holiday. Like if you get an all inclusive or an apartment, it's lovely because you can go and you can go in the buses they've got to different place towns and cities they've got there. And it's nice. And I feel that doing these things, getting away from here, especially, it's nice to just have an experience of saying, "Oh, I've been here, I've been there, I've done this, done that," because you don't have to stick to your own comfort of like say like
Yeah, it's
basically
good
like
to extend your
yeah,
horizons. Yeah.
because like say if you've got a small flat or a small house, right, and you see the whole same four walls 360 something days of the year, it's gonna get to you because you're not gonna have unless you decorate every 6 months, which obviously is unpractical. You need to get a change
And
of
boring.
environment. Yeah, you need to even if it's just going to another city or going up this Isle of Skye or going to Ireland. It's
Yeah,
still
those are quite. What's the word? Those are quite easily accessible for us because we're in Scotland.
yeah, and I mean
But wherever you are in the world,
obviously not.
yeah, obviously whatever difference applies to you.
Because it's nice. Because I feel that I like to learn different cultures, because
Oh,
everywhere,
I love it too.
yeah, everywhere is different. Like
Not as boring like our culture. Oh,
because like you've got places like how say like Paris is like a lovely city. It's a lovely. It doesn't feel like you're closed in, and you get so many things to do, and it's like nice to walk the streets. People are just and they got lots of cafes. People are friendly, and you get to places obviously like or say like go like you've got to like Ostend in Belgium. That's nice as well. It's a wee. You can go for half a day. It's nice. That's just nice to relax. And you see people are have their own way of doing things. And especially with like countries like Italy and that every region's different. They have different cuisine, different way of speaking stuff, dialect. They've got different way of doing stuff. You could go up to the north, say go to Tuscany, go to Florence, and you could go down to the Amalfi Coast, and it's completely different. And it wouldn't be the same. So you could have a different experience. You wouldn't have to say, "Oh, I've been there," but you haven't because you haven't witnessed it everywhere. Because everywhere's had a different way of doing stuff. It's lovely.
sorry if you can hear that noise in the background. There's children out there playing, and it's not like we can hang out the window and say, "Yeah." Wish I
Exactly.
could, but
Yeah, of
I
course,
digress.
of course.
Uh, yeah. So what I wanted to ask you was, what's it like having a spouse that's an internet sensation?
It's actually really humbling, actually, because you have worked so hard
What I wanted to
loosely.
do was get like the perspective of someone that doesn't do social media and things, because Jay, he doesn't do it.
No.
He posts photos of his photography now and again, but he doesn't bother with it. But
Mm.
I do. So what's
Yeah.
it like?
It's nice that you've worked hard for this over the 7 years, or 6 years, and it's like I know after
Yeah,
you.
it, yeah. Next month I'll have been 7 years sober, and it's a miracle that I'm still here with all the shit that I put my body
You
through.
know,
But
like we say that you don't do things like that because you want to. It's for a reason. And like where I work at the moment,
like, no one chooses addiction.
no, like where I work at the moment, there's a lot of I'll not say what it is, but there's a lot of people who are sketchy, dodgy people who maybe
Yeah, maybe they have certain
yeah,
addictions.
and
Yeah,
they do certain stuff like eating
and are
toothpaste.
poor.
Eating toothpaste is one of them anyway.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't. I know that a lot of them don't do it because they want to do it. It's because they've had trauma in their life, and you've had trauma, lots of it,
Yeah, but
and
I've
it's
had
like
to work through it.
yeah, and you've worked through it, and you needed help from people, certain people,
Mhm.
professional and professional. You didn't get, but
Well, I
I
did
will,
that by asking for help and was
of
willing
course,
to put the work in.
and I'm glad that I was able to help you as well over the
Thank you.
the years because I knew you and it wasn't you. I knew this wasn't what you were. It was just something holding you that you needed to let go, and you did.
Yeah, I mean, what it was basically someone who sat and drank all day, who didn't speak to any friends, who didn't make any connections, who didn't have any tribe, who didn't did nothing to experience a well-rounded, enriched life. I mean, up until 2019, I was afraid to listen to my own. I couldn't record my own voicemail
No,
actually,
you couldn't
and
hear and watch yourself.
no, and that's why I keep saying to anyone: if you've got a fear, find a way of getting over it or working around it or through it or whatever.
Yeah,
And if you've got a talent or a speciality or a gift for the world, or if you've got a natural aptitude for something, just go and do it. Please
yeah.
don't look back on your life and think, "Oh, I should have done that."
And don't let your family, your parents, or anyone tell you need to go to uni or you need something
No,
academic.
I mean, if you want to go down the academic route,
Academia.
great. But if you don't have to. I mean, your life is not defined by
Yeah,
grades.
as long as you make like I'm on the rhetoric, as long as you make enough money to enjoy yourself and live,
Yeah,
don't worry about being like in a top job in an office if you don't enjoy it because like a lot of people don't enjoy faxing and franking and
I mean, some do,
yeah, but
some
some
do.
do, but a lot don't, and it's a different
I mean, I
vibe.
didn't. I worked in office jobs, call centers, cleaning, door to door selling, shops, uh, pension place. Yeah, they didn't they didn't steam my pudding. No.
No, I mean it's one of these things. Do what you feel that you'll be happy doing and you love, because like it is rare sometimes that to have a job that you actually love and what you want to do because it's hard. But if you know you can do it because
Yeah, I
you
mean, it
never
was you that
know.
encouraged me to go for the wig making.
Yeah, because I knew how good you were. I because
Because I shared with him, with Jay, that I love wigs.
yeah,
When we actually sat down and thought what would make me happy, when I was recovering from
yeah,
alcoholism and pancreatitis, and it was that. I shared with him that I love wigs, and he said, "Well, why don't you try making them?"
yeah.
Because I was wearing them, and I thought,
No,
"Yeah, I'll try
because
that."
and
And look at me now.
yeah, and it's like I'm like astonished in a way that you gave up tobacco and alcohol by yourself because you did go to an AA once, but you didn't like it. Wasn't for you because like
I mean, I'm not saying it's not for everyone else, but it just
no,
wasn't.
because
I didn't get it. I didn't really get much
yeah,
from
because
it.
like you weren't at the point then that it was like you couldn't stop because you knew it was hard, but you were at the point where you knew you could, and you weren't in the past the point where you couldn't
Yeah, well,
stop.
I think we can leave that topic for
Of course,
another podcast time.
yeah, of course.
That's if you guys are interested in listening to it. Uh, is there anything else you would like to talk about today, Jay?
I think that's it because I'll be here all day. Like I said, if I you know keep
Yeah,
talking.
and so if you've enjoyed listening to me and my husband's chats, do let us know. I've really enjoyed recording this, and hopefully the next time we record together, we'll both have the dedicated mics, because I'm using a dynamic mic, and the only one that we the only other one that we can use. It's not a dynamic mic.
Cartoid apparently.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be in full working order by that point, hopefully. And what is it the listeners do if they've enjoyed listening? What do they do, Jay?
Well, they can follow a little follow,
A
a,
little follow.
a little subscribe, and they can. And what else they can do? They can a little share and all the little thing social media platforms to tell all their little friends and family.
And if you've really enjoyed, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get
Podcast
your
from.
podcast from. It really helps us to push the pod. That doesn't seem right.
Yeah,
I
I
sound
know.
like an alien pushing a baby. Yeah, leave us a review and send us an email or send us a
Yeah.
DM. All the details are
And,
in the show
and
notes.
also, I want to thank everyone from Sidcup who are listening
Yeah,
because
we're huge in Sidcup for
I
some
don't know
reason. Don't know
why, but
why.
I want to thank everyone from
So
Sidcup.
yeah, shout out to everyone in Sidcup who are listening. Yeah, you're a huge part of this podcast. And if someone in Sidcup can let me know why we're big in Sidcup, I've never been to Sidcup.
Me
I don't
neither.
have any relative. I'm sure it's lovely. Uh, but yeah, just explain why we're so huge in Sidcup. Yeah, that would be great. And what nonsensical advice can? Do you want to do the nonsensical
Yeah,
advice this week, Jay?
I'd probably say, if life gives you lemons, don't squeeze them in people's eyes. It hurts.
That's sensical.
Well, put them in people's eyes then if you don't like them,
Yeah, that's true.
especially if there are certain person in charge at the moment. Do it.
Yeah, that's a dig at the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will definitely be talking about
Oh yes.
that. Well, yeah, but I mean, we've got parts of it recorded. I keep saying we're going to. Yeah, so stay tuned. Keep listening. Keep reviewing. Keep sending us DMs and messages. And I will see you same time, same place next week. Take care. Be kind to yourself and others.
Bye.